Alright, my dears, it's time to grab your crochet, get cozy in bed, start to do something fun. Unless you're watching this in the morning and you gotta get ready for work, then okay. But it's time to take a little time out of our day to find out if more people are assholes. Hey babes! Welcome or welcome back to Moonbae Crochet. It is Brandy and today I am here to read you more stories from r/Am I the Asshole that pertain to crochet, knit, all things crafty. In case you are new here, my name is Brandy. I love to do crochet content on here, sharing with you guys my finished projects and patterns, chilling and hanging out with you guys, just getting cozy and crafty. So if any of that kind of content sounds interesting to you, I would love it if you would consider subscribing, sticking around. We have lots of fun here. And without further ado, let's hop right into today's stories. This first one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Knitting a Sweater While Watching a Movie with My In-Laws? I sense some monster-in-law energy coming up. Let's find out. So I was hanging out with my in-laws at their big modern cabin this past week. It was about 20 people total through the week, not all at the same time. So it was a little crowded at times. One evening, we were all going to sit and watch a movie, so I figured it was a good time for me to work on one of my sweaters. For knitters who will understand, it's a top-down raglan, and I'm at the body of the sweater, so it's endless stockinette, I think that's how you say that, stockinette, on circular needles, with a color change for the ribbing, which I wouldn't have gotten to during the movie. It's not a very involved project where I need to keep count, and I've been knitting for eons, so I don't need to look at my needles for basic stockinette. However, my mother-in-law got annoyed at me for knitting during the movie. I wasn't in her line of vision, but when she looked over after scanning the room, she scowled. After the movie, she asked me why I was knitting when we were watching a movie. I said that I watched the movie. I was just doing something with my hands. She scowled again and said that it was rude for me to just go off and do my own thing the whole time. I didn't really know what to say, so I just said, okay. Creative, right? And went to the bedroom. My husband was already getting ready for bed, so I brought it up to him and he said I can just ignore her. She's just being controlling. Am I wrong here? Nope, I don't think so. And you already got the green light from your husband that his mom's just being controlling. So I don't know. I feel like that's already a dub. You know what I mean? Especially if you were able to watch the film while also doing something with your hands. But like, even still, what if you just didn't want to watch the movie, you know what I mean? But you want to be in the presence of all your family members and stuff like that, so you're just sitting there while everybody else is watching the movie, and even if you did have to look at your knitting while you were doing it, which you said you didn't, how is that rude? What does it matter if one person isn't fully invested in this movie if everybody else is? Like, we're all still having a good time here. But even still, like I said, original poster said they did watch the movie. They just wanted to do something with their hands. I find nothing wrong with this. I often crochet on the couch at my in-laws' house. It's always a nice time. Nobody cares. If anything, people are like, oh, what are you making? Nobody is ever fully invested in whatever movie it is that we're watching anyway. There's always people off having their own conversation. There's always people scrolling on their phones. But we have a movie on, and everybody's kind of looking up at it every once in a while, kind of like giving their little commentary on it and moving along, It's like a chill family vibe, So, I don't know. Yeah, it does seem a bit controlling to me. You're definitely not an asshole for this, like, not at all. And you already got your husband's stamp of approval for that, so you're good. But let's see what other people have to say. This one says, not the asshole. I crochet through anything. I pay better attention to the movie when doing something with my hands. She's just being difficult. Agreed. This one says, if I don't crochet at home during a movie, I eat. Really don't need the calories, so I will always keep my hands busy with the yarn project, not the asshole. Wow, I think I do that too. If I'm not crocheting during a movie, then I'm eating. Unless it's like a new movie that I've never seen before, because I'm personally not one of those gifted individuals who can crochet without looking at my project. I do have to look. So if it's something that I've never seen or that like I'm really like invested in it, I won't do anything. I might eat though. Anyway, point is, I agree. And this one says, not the asshole. I can't just sit and stare at TV. I need to be doing something with my hands, so usually I'm doing some type of needlepoint, crochet, etc. My mom would watch TV while knitting and reading at the same time. Haven't mastered adding reading to the mix. I see no problem with knitting while watching TV. You can still keep up with both and hold a conversation too. Agreed. This is a very I think she just blew this out of proportion for no good reason. I feel like sometimes people just like to make non-problems a problem. So you're good in my opinion, sweetheart. Next story. This one is titled, Am I the Asshole for Not Letting Another Lady Do My Knitting? So I was on a 5-hour train journey today and I took my knitting with me. And the lady next to me spends her time trying to talk to me. This was my alone time listening to a podcast and knitting, telling me all about how her home country knitting is taught in schools and how my technique is wrong and how I should let her do it and help me. This is my alone time, so I just say, I'm fine doing it my way and keep going with my pattern open on my phone. She is literally begging me every time I move slightly or readjust to let her knit a row. If you don't know much about knitting, then you know that different people have different knitting tensions, and I knit very tight. Someone coming in and knitting a row looser would destroy the 18 hours of work I put into this piece, and I'd have to unpick and loosen the previous row. Anyways, I nipped it to the loo. Oh my god, that's so cute. I nipped it to the loo. Anyway, I nipped it to the loo the first time, and I come back and my stuff isn't how I left it. She admits that she was going to knit more, but the lady opposing us, we were on a table of 4, told her not to. And when I got my work, I realized she'd moved the stitches and they weren't in the correct order. I fixed this and carried on. I went to knit to the loo again and got to the end of the carriage and saw her reaching for my knitting stuff, so I took it with me and did so every time I went to the loo after that. She kept getting in my space and critiquing me and not leaving me alone. I ended up snapping. If you wanted to knit, you should have brought your own knitting and not be trying to do mine. F off. Ooh. She started crying and moved seats. Oh my god. I may have been harsh, but this was 3 hours of her being over my shoulder and touching my stuff after being told no. Am I the asshole? Also, there is an edit that says, thank you for all the kind responses. People were asking why didn't I move earlier. The train was full. How often do I need to go to the loo? I went to the loo 4 times. I currently have an eye condition where I need to put in drops every hour, and they leave an awful taste in my mouth, so I end up drinking a lot of water. I went through my 2-liter bottle of water on the train. Oh wow. Okay, well, no, you are not an asshole. Like, this is a fully grown woman. It's not like a toddler, right? Even a toddler knows, like, better usually. Like, you know, you teach them about yes and no, and then you tell them not to get into something and they know no means no, right? This grown woman sitting next to you who just happens to know how to knit is like looking over you, telling you you're doing it wrong, asking you, begging you to let her do a row, and you've told her no how many times, and she just can't take that for an answer, and then has the audacity to touch your stuff when you get up to go to the bathroom. I would be enraged. No, that is not cool. Get your filthy mitts off of my stuff. I don't know where your hands have been. Ugh. No. I don't like that. You are not an asshole at all. I probably would have, actually, you know what? I can't even say that I would have done the same thing because I don't have the gall, but I would have thought it. I would have wished that I could do something like this. So I'm glad that you did. Not the asshole. And let's see what other people have to say. Not the asshole. Fellow knitter here, but I don't need to be one to make this assertion. As you said, everyone knits differently, and you made yourself clear that you weren't looking for help, and not only is this obnoxious, she didn't listen to you or the other person politely telling her no. If someone did this to my work, I'd be livid. It's detail-oriented, math-driven crafting. I couldn't pick up someone else's painting and finish it because I might know how to execute the technique better. It's your vision, your project, your personal space. Perfect way to word that. This one says, not the asshole. It's like a stranger saying, ooh, let me do some of your painting since you're doing it wrong. Yeah, exactly. Okay, so as a knitter, I was once in almost your exact shoes. I was trying to teach myself a new technique, continental, so holding the yarn looped on the left hand versus the right. And I was slow and awkward and thoroughly terrible at it. This was pre-smartphones and pre-YouTube tutorials, so I didn't have much to go off of. On the bus, I sat down next to an older Russian woman, pulled out my knitting, and started fumbling along. I swear she cringed so hard that the whole bus felt it. And do you know what this nosy baba who was in almost physical pain for my terrible technique did? She f***ing asked. She didn't speak any English beyond no and good, but she held her hands out, made a questioning sound, and only when I nodded she reached over, repositioned my hands, showed me how to hold the yarn, adjust for tension, and the weird little wrist twist that makes the whole technique work that I was missing entirely. I am still knitting with that exact technique now, almost 25 years later. If my nosy Brooklyn by way of Odessa bus baba with 2 words of English could figure out how to ask permission before even reaching for my knitting, then there is zero excuse for this terrible woman who was on the train with you. Start decreasing so you can thank her. Start decreasing so you can shank her, not the asshole. Wow, that was a comment. But yeah, I agree. I mean, see, it's like common sense. You do not touch somebody else's stuff without their permission. That is so invasive. Ew, don't touch my stuff. Ugh. Not the asshole. Next story. All right, this one is titled, Am I the asshole for taking back my gift and refusing to return it? This happened over Christmas and I'm still getting heat over it. I love knitting and crochet. It's my thing. This year with COVID and all, money's been tight, so I decided to knit Christmas gifts for everyone using yarn I already had. Everyone already agreed to only do kid gifts, so I made small stuffed animals, unicorns and dragons in different colors. It was my first time doing these, and all the best patterns are crochet, which I'm not as comfortable with, so it took months to make them all. I didn't mind though. It was fun to learn something new and a good way to use up some of my enormous stash. All my side were happy, or polite enough to act happy with the gifts. The problem was with my husband's family. His sister immediately started making snippy, sarcastic, but kind of indirect comments about me being cheap/lazy. Niece didn't seem to like it either and said some things that, yes, I get that she's a kid, but my feelings were still pretty hurt. There's a history of this sort of thing, so maybe I'm too sensitized to this, but I angrily took the gift back and handed her some cash, which made things really awkward, and we left shortly after. The big problem happened when Niece realized that all her cousins got matching stuffies, so she wanted hers back. I already gave hers away, and I refused to make her another one. Apparently, she is crying, and I broke her heart, but I'm finding it hard to care because I'm still hurt about how she and her mother behaved. They have not apologized either yet, but expect me to. My husband thinks I should make her another one, and should have overlooked the comments in the first place. I told him that he's in charge of his family's gifts from now on, which is apparently petty. Now everyone, including husband, is mad at me except his stepdad and sister. My family is obviously on my side, but that's just making things worse. I get that quote-unquote snatching the gift back and quote-unquote flinging money at my sister-in-law's face, their words, I don't think I did, might have been overly dramatic and rude, but am I an asshole for being pushed too far? Also, there's an edit, two edits actually. I was told I should mention that Niece is around 11 or 12 years old, and that I didn't literally snatch the toy out of her hands like my sister-in-law claims. Niece had tossed it away, so I picked it up. Edit 2, thanks to everyone who responded. I'm sorry I can't reply to you all. I've tried showing this post to my husband, and unfortunately it went not well. He's upset over me making our private things public, which I understand, but still, his reaction seemed disproportionate. I didn't want to bring my family into this because they already don't like him, but I'm staying with my sister for a bit. I don't know what to do. Sorry if I'm not responding much anymore. There's just too much else I need to think about now, I guess. Oh my god. That is dramatic. Not saying that the original poster is being dramatic, but this situation seems to have blown up your life a little bit. But you know what? No, I don't think you're an asshole for this. I think 11 or 12 years old is, yes, you say and do stupid things at 11 or 12. You're still a kid. But I do think that you do have a sense of, being respectful and being appreciative of something, at least to somebody's face. Even if you don't really like it, if you open up a gift and it's for you, you still thank the person. At least this is how I was raised, And if I didn't really like it, then I would just tell my mom later, oh, I don't really like this thing that, Aunt Jane gave me, or I don't really like this thing that grandma gave me, but I would never sit and make snippy comments about it, even at that age. I don't know who does that, but especially the fully grown woman in the situation, the sister-in-law saying how cheap and lazy, bro, during the pandemic, things were hard for everybody. Okay. And I think that was a really beautiful way to use up things that you already had around the house. You're being resourceful, it's thoughtful, because nobody is going to have these things, and only after they made these dumb comments and they're ew, who wants that thing, it's so cheap, and then the little girl sees that all her cousins, they all have one and they're all happy and excited for them. Now she wants hers back. No, you don't appreciate it. Get out of here. I don't like that. So no, you're definitely not an asshole, and I really can't believe that your husband is treating you like this over this, and especially because you kept everybody anonymous in this story. It's not like you said, my name is Michelle Smith and my husband Blake Smith, da 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 da, and his sister, it's not like you're doxing these people. I think that's kind of dumb, and you know, whatever. I hope everything worked out well for you, Queen. That's crazy. And let's see what other people have to say. First, coffee. This one says, not the asshole. Entitled children grow into entitled adults. We damn sure don't need any more of those. I'd tell the sister-in-law that maybe she should have had some respect and taught her child respect, and she'd have the matching stuffy. Exactly. This one says, not the asshole, and don't crochet or knit for them ever again. As a fellow knitter, I know how many hours it takes even to make the smallest thing. So if someone is so ungrateful, they don't deserve your gift. Yep. Not everybody in your life deserves a crochet gift. People, you know, if people went on like a binge watch of every video in my channel and they like took a shot every time I said that, they'd probably have to go to the hospital. Actually, don't do that. This one says, not the asshole. The sister-in-law and niece were both ungrateful for the gift. Them realizing it later that there was a bigger idea to it is not your fault. After they apologize, you can make her one if you want. But that was a lot of entitlement from his side of the family. My only caveat is that if the niece is younger than 7, oh, well, she's not, so let's just skip over that. Stay firm that he does gifts for his family, at least for now. Emphasize that you'd like to give gifts to those who appreciate it, and you're feeling too hurt at the lack of respect from the snide comments to truly be in the giving spirit for his family at the moment. Yeah. I mean, and who even knows? They never left another update. They said they were staying with their sister. I kind of want to know how this story ended, you know? Hopefully not too much hurt. I hope they're doing okay now. And I hope that they know that their crochet and knitting skills should be reserved for people who really do love and appreciate and care about them. So, wow. Next story. This one is titled, Am I the Asshole for telling a friend I'm not hand making her another blanket when I am making a second one for a mutual friend? Drama. Let's see. I, 26 female, can crochet. Several years ago, I handmade blankets for a handful of my friends in custom colors. They loved them, so the next year I handmade several scarves instead. Those didn't go over nearly as well with some of my friends who flat out told me that it was a nice thought, but they don't wear scarves and can't imagine themselves using it. I said that was okay. I wasn't offended, though it did sting a little, and that they were free to re-gift or just donate the scarves if they didn't want them. Now, 2 years later, one friend, Megan, 27 female, not her real name, has asked me to make her another, larger blanket for Christmas in custom colors. I agreed and have been working on it. The problems arose when, at a Friendsgiving gathering, I exchanged presents with everyone, but didn't give Megan anything. A mutual friend, Aurora, 25 female, asked why I hadn't gotten Megan anything. I explained that Megan had asked for a large blanket and I was still working on it. Megan said it was fine that she was getting her gift later on. I thought that was the end of it. Later that night, I got a message from Aurora, upset that she wasn't given the option for a blanket this year like Megan. She said that she'd not asked for one because after the scarves flopping years before, I'd stated that I wasn't going to be making gifts anymore because it was easier to buy people what they wanted. She said she would rather have one of my blankets than any store-bought gift and wanted me to make her one. I refused, saying that she hadn't liked my scarf before and had been a bit rude about it, laughing at the size of them and that they were poor quality compared to my blankets. They were oversized scarves, but I don't think that they were poor quality. I made them the exact way as the blankets. Aurora accused me of playing favorites and that she wasn't the only one who didn't like my gift that year, and that I wasn't being fair by denying her another blanket, which she really loved and still used. It got me thinking, am I playing favorites? Am I the asshole for making a special blanket for one friend and not the other? In the simplest way I can say this, no, I don't think you're an asshole, because you are free to crochet things for whoever you want, especially considering, like, you're saying that these are gifts, so these people aren't paying for this. I could not imagine, well, no, I can't imagine. I was gonna say I could not imagine crocheting a whole blanket for somebody and them not paying me for it, but yes, I can. I've done it in the past. I've made my man a crochet blanket in Buffalo Bills colors. I've made my mother-in-law a granny square blanket, and I'm currently actually working on another gift blanket for my mother-in-law, a bouquet blanket. And so yeah, I actually can, but it's like, I love these people. They put so much love in my heart and it makes me want to crochet for them, you know? And so in the simplest way I can put this, if you feel like it is somebody that you want to crochet something like that for, then do it. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks. And if you don't want to do something like that for Aurora because she laughed at your gift in the past and she was making fun of it and doing all this stuff, and it puts a bad taste in your mouth to do something like that for her, you're fully in control to be like, no, I'm not gonna crochet you anything. Like, and yeah, does that kind of suck when it's like, oh, she found out about, you're giving something to this person, when you said you weren't gonna give it to anybody anymore. But it's like, dude, it's your life. These people are grown people. They need to learn how to manage their expectations and their reactions, not like children. You know what I mean? Everybody is over the age of 25, I think, in this. So everybody's frontal lobe is fully developed here. Stop acting up, okay? Because I've said this before in the past, when I've like told my man, like, oh, like I want to get this person da 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 and this person da da da, and he's like, well, what about this person? And I'm like, no, I don't want to get them anything. And he's like, no, but you can't get them something and not this person. And I'm like, why the hell not? They're adults. Like, what did they get me? Hello. Not that it's all about that. It's not all about, getting. But, at the end of the day, I think fully grown adults should be able to see other people getting things and them not getting either the same thing or anything at all. And, not make a fit about it, basically. But let's see what other people have to say. This one says, not the you can give and gift whatever you like. If your friends want something you've made so badly, why aren't they offering to foot the bill as a commission? I don't sit around at Christmas listing off my friends' talents and comparing those to the gifts they've got me. I appreciate anything because, well, they're my friends. This one says, not the and the audacity. You're absolutely in the right for refusing to take the time to make handmade gifts for people who have complained in the past. If Aurora wants another one, have her pay up front for the yarn and your time. I'm sure she won't want one then. And this one says, not the asshole. I love that Aurora's response was, well, I'm not the only one that didn't like your gift, as if further insulting you is going to make you suddenly agree to undertake a large and costly project. I tell her that if she really wants one, she can pay the cost of materials plus your hourly rate for it so she understands what she is demanding. I tell her point blank that she will not be getting your free labor or expertise, no matter how much she may love it, because she is rude as and maybe you should just stop presents altogether between the two of you since she doesn't like your gifts. You won't get her anything. She doesn't have to get you anything. Yeah, exactly. Honestly, at this point, it's like, does she even need to be in your life? I feel like I always mention in one of these videos, like, cut that person off. Maybe that's a little dramatic, but yeah, I think that you guys don't need to get each other gifts anymore. Like, if she's going to be complaining or saying that you're playing favorites, bro, just grow up, Next story. All right, the last story that we're going to be reading today is titled, Am I the Asshole for Not Using My Fancy Materials for Christmas Presents? This is really stupid, but here goes. Some background. I, 29 female, crochet as a hobby and have a very large yarn stash. Over the years, I've collected hanks of yarn from a company called Manos del Uruguay. The company is fantastic. The yarn is hand-dyed and hand-spun, and the company employs all rural women in the country. Damn, I have such a hard time saying that word. Rural. Ugh. The yarn can be expensive, anywhere from $10 to $48 depending on the size and weight. Because of this, I keep the yarn for personal projects. I don't use them for commissions or gifts. My family knows about this collection. They've even given me yarn from Manos as gifts in the past. I've been out of work for the last 3 months and have a new job that doesn't start until January. So I've basically been making do and using my crochet skills and taking commissions. I make enough to get by, with some small generosities from my family. $20 to $40 here and there, nothing that I won't be able to pay back. Because of the money going towards bills and food, I decided to crochet my family's presents this year, 10 people overall, my parents, siblings, and their spouses. Instead of dipping into my stash, I set aside some commission money to buy brand new wool yarn in everyone's favorite colors. As we live in a cold state, I made everyone a set of a hat, scarf, and fingerless gloves. I've been working on these for the past month or so, tried to pick patterns that look nice but worked up quickly. A couple of days ago, while I was out running errands, my sister Bianca decided to pop in to grab a gift she had shipped to my apartment to keep hidden. Been asking her for years to call before coming over, she won't do it. She found the gifts on my work table and also found the labels from the yarn I bought. I got back to my apartment to find her there. She called me cheap and demanded that her set be remade in my fancy South American yarn since she's been nice and lent me money recently, and also she's given me some of the yarn. I explained that most of the Manos yarn is the wrong weight for the patterns I used. Most of it is weight 3. The patterns I used asked for weight 5 or 6 yarn. I also explained that I wanted to keep it for personal use so I could enjoy the yarn after working with it. She called me a selfish ass and said I wouldn't be getting any more help from her. I called her spoiled and told her to get out of my apartment. She left after saying neither she or her husband wanted my cheap presents. My mom is upset with both of us for having a fight days before Christmas, but is more upset at me for not just remaking the set. I explained the yarn weight issue. While I could change the amount of stitches I needed to make the set fit, Christmas Eve is tomorrow and I don't have a DeLorean. I also don't want to give in to her demands. My mom told me to remake the set and that I'm being too stubborn. Am I the asshole? No, 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 no. None of this. Say it with me, class, for the second time in this video. Not everyone in your life deserves a crochet gift. And I definitely believe that somebody that will complain about the type of yarn you're using when you are painstakingly making them something handmade for Christmas and then walking out of your apartment saying, me or my husband don't want your cheap gifts, and that she's not going to help you anymore because you won't use your special yarn. Like, ugh, ew, ew. I hate it when people offer to help you with something. For instance, she's offering to kind of like give you a little money here and there, help you get by until you start your new job, or even gifting you some yarn. Once a gift is given, that's it. That's the end of that transaction. You have no right to say what this person has to do with it. And two, it's like, so you're helping them, but now you want to throw it in their face when you want something from them. So then you didn't really help them out of like the love in your heart. You just helped them like, so one day you could like keep that in your bank of things that, oh, now she owes me one. Like, and I think the original poster said they were already like, they were planning on paying back all this money that their family helped them with anyway. So anyway, I find this extremely distasteful. And at this point, like, I would never, ever, ever crochet something for this sister ever again. Ever. That's just, oh, ugh. That just puts such a bad taste in my mouth. I hate it. So definitely not an asshole. And I can't even believe that somebody would be so heartless around Christmas time. And then your mom is more mad at you for not remaking it, even when you explain the whole yarn weight issue. And like, you want to enjoy this yarn. It's yours. Nobody is entitled to it. That's so crazy to me. Anyway, I need to calm down. Let's see what other people have to say. This one says, not the asshole. Just because they've gifted that yarn in the past does not entitle them to a project made with that yarn. I just call them out when handing out gifts, stating that since she claimed she and her husband don't want gifts, you didn't bring theirs. Let them feel left out. Just don't give it to her. This one says, eesh. I say this as a fellow crocheter with a vast yarn stash. She was of course rude to be demanding, but I can see how you came off a bit stingy. The good yarn is for me, the bad yarn is for you. That's what she heard. You should have left it saying it's the wrong weight for the project. I mean, well, I don't know. Obviously I wasn't there, but you know, she went out of her way to get wool. Just because she doesn't want to share this very specific type of yarn does not mean that she bought purposely bad yarn to make projects with. That's also kind of presumptuous. I disagree with that comment. This one says, not the asshole, straightforward. And a couple of thoughts. A, if she's going to be in a public space when she opens this, give it to her as is and let her make an ass of herself. B, remake exactly as requested, changing nothing but the material used. If you're reading this expecting to produce an item that doesn't fit, that's the point. Give her exactly what she's asking for. That'd be like hilarious because the pattern calls for a size 5 yarn and then the yarn that she wants you to use is a size 3. Like, you make the pattern exactly as it's written, so now a fingerless glove that's like this big is gonna come out this big. And honestly, I feel like that would be hilarious, but I don't know if you'd be willing to sacrifice your beautiful South American yarn just to be petty, but I would love that. I would love that. And this one says, not the asshole. Never give nice yarn to people who don't deserve it. Signed, 2 skeins of Tana's silver silk blend on a scarf for an in-law who has never worn it. And I think that all of this is to say, kids, not everybody in your life deserves a crochet gift. I think you know that by now. I think I've drilled that point into the ground, not only in this video, but in plenty of videos in the past. Never give in to people who are trying to bully you into either making them something, you owe them something just because you have this skill that you have to do it, they don't have to pay for it. Being a fiber artist is a lot. and materials and time cost a lot. And so don't ever feel guilty for saying no, you don't want to do something, or for charging for your time, or for saving something specifically for yourself, because you do deserve to keep nice things for yourself if you want them. And with all of that being said, thank you all so much for being here with me as always. Thanks for hanging out. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please feel free to give it a thumbs up. Subscribe if you're not already. I hope everybody has an amazing rest of your day, week, month, and night, whatever you're having. Please enjoy yourself. If you have any stories that you would like to share with me, feel free to drop them into my inbox. My email is always linked down below. They don't have to be crazy stories like r/MIThe stories. They can be heartfelt, heartwarming, beautiful, gorgeous memories, funny stories that you have while doing whatever craft it is that you like to do, or just, I don't know, shocking stories, you know, anything like that. Anything that you feel like you want to share with me, or even photos of your whips or finished projects, feel free. I love to share on here. I do have another series where I share subscriber stories, so if you're interested in being involved in that, go ahead, send me an email, and I'd love to read it. Anyway, thank you all so much for being here. I will see you guys in the next one. Mwah. Bye.